So the purpose of this video today is a little bit different than my other videos. I'm going to treat it more as of a tutorial for any drivers that are coming up and are new to iRacing. And this is going to be a tutorial of Mazda Raceway, which is a very tricky racetrack. And there's some ins and outs that I'm going to teach you that I've been taught and also through experience. And hopefully that'll make people's time to get up to speed a little bit shorter. Because in the real Skip Barber car, you have to right foot brake. There is a steering column that goes right between your feet, and it is absolutely impossible to get your left foot over underneath it and into the brake. So once you leave the pits, like I've tried it myself, and you can't do it unless if you have like a baby foot or something like that. And so as long as you're an adult, it's going to be completely impossible and you're going to be forced to right foot brake. Okay, so we're at Mazda Raceway in the Skip Barber Formula 2000 car, and we're going down the front straightaway to begin our lap. So as you'll notice, this is a curved front straightaway, and this makes it very difficult, especially at the brake zone, because the car is tracking that way. So here we have to make a quick jink to the left, and I apply the brakes. Let me reverse a little bit here. So right around, I'll make a quick jink to the left, and I'll have the car pointing towards the apex, usually around this 3 marker or this line, but around here is around where I'm going to be braking. And I'll also have already turned the car towards the apex so that I have a nice straight run towards the first, it's actually turn 2, a nice straight run towards the corner without having to have the steering wheel 2 turn. That's going to make my braking a little bit easier and avoid a little bit of lockup. Now this is somewhere where people take a different line. Some people might like to go a lane wider, but I like to come in right on the apex and then go wide down the middle and then make the second apex and then accelerate hard. It's up to you. Everybody has a different line. Coming up to turn 3, you gotta get wide early and then come out to the line, make the apex out here. This is kind of a straightforward corner, so is turn 4 here. A light brake, tap of the brakes, and then back on throttle to balance the car. It's a very quick corner, that one, so you have to basically just brush of the brakes and then back on throttle, part throttle, and then hard on the throttle. Okay, no, actually, sorry. This is turn 5 at Mazda Raceway. So the braking, I start my braking under the bridge around the 3 marker. This is actually where we are right now. So this is where I start my braking. This is a hard braking zone, really hard on the brakes. You're actually going uphill even though you don't feel it a little bit. So that assists the braking a little bit. You apply the brakes very hard, and this, it's very hard to get the turn in right, but you kind of have to end up making somewhat of an aggressive turn in towards the apex. And the neat thing about this corner is that it has a lot of camber to it, so you can always get on the throttle a lot sooner than what you would ever normally think, and the banking will catch the car. So this is definitely a corner that you have to attack very aggressively, get on the throttle hard, and then you'll be able to make up some lap time, because this straightaway is also uphill. So it's very important to have as much speed as possible carried through turn 5. So turn 6 is one of the scariest corners on the racetrack, really. Even though Mazda Raceway is famous for the corkscrew, this is such a fast corner right here, and it's somewhat blind, and you have to get it inch perfect on the apex to make a good lap, and it leads to such a long straightaway that's uphill. So losing speed here costs you so much. So basically, the way that you take it on the Skip Barber car is that around very early braking, around the 3, between the 3 and the 2 marker, you're going to get on the brakes. You can either brush it lightly or for a while, like a long brush of the brakes, or you can get on the brakes really hard and then get off of them. But right around here, right before turn-in, especially in the real life car, you have to be back part throttle to balance and transfer a little bit of weight out of the rear. Otherwise, you will absolutely spin out. And then you have to come in and you absolutely have to get this apex. In real life, though, you have to be very careful because you got to get on the rumble strip, but you cannot hit this curb. This red hump here, I don't know, it must be about 4 or 5 inches tall, and it absolutely will destroy the suspension. So this is one of the most difficult corners in racing because you have to be so inch perfect, so precise every single lap to get it right. Very difficult. So very tough, but by the time that you turn in, you're already going to be part throttle, And then once you apex, you're going to be wide open throttle, and then you're going to track out all the way out to the line, hopefully not into the dirt, dragging sand onto the racetrack. Now we're heading up towards the corkscrew. This, I usually stay a little bit to the right and then move over to the left. By the time this rumble strip appears, I'm on the left side of the track, and then I jink the car to the right, and now I'm aiming towards this curb. So it's very important to, this is the second time, this is just like the front straightaway, where now I redirect the car so that I have a good straight brake zone, and I'm not actually turning the steering wheel while I'm braking. So here, I'm going to turn the steering wheel, I'm going to jink it, I'm going to be braking around the 3 marker, and then I'm going to try to hold it as far out as possible before I turn in, and then I'm going to turn in somewhat aggressively. I'm going to probably put my wheels into the sand a little bit here, and now this is the secret of Mazda Raceway that they'll teach you in real life. But if you see this tree, both of these trees, there's one, it's actually I think this tree that has a red or orange tape that's placed around it, and that's the tree that you aim for. That's the tree that you aim for when you're at this point, because as you see, the corner's blind and you can't see the next apex. So they have basically a tree that's set up as a marker. But basically, when I'm racing on the simulator, I aim for this tree. So around this point, I redirect and I aim the car for this tree. And by keeping it straight, I know that the next apex will be there. And sure enough, you make the second apex. Now here we go up through the gears. In real life, here you go from, I don't know, what would be second gear up to third, and then quickly into fourth. And the importance for that is because it makes the car a little bit more manageable, like because this corner you're going to be lifting a lot through it, and if you were in third gear, the engine braking would kind of like want to spin you out. So fourth gear is a little bit safer gear to take it through, but on the simulator I'll go through here normally in third gear. And this is another corner where everybody has a different line. Some people like to go way out, all the way out towards the curb, and try to get the car to dive into the apex, but I find that it takes a little bit too much effort, and you usually don't ever make the apex right. So basically I'm kind of like here, kind of in the middle of the racetrack, and here I'll be like already off the throttle, I'll be part throttle all the way through here trying to get the car down to the apex, and then hopefully make a late apex and be able to exit hard on the throttle. And this is where it gets tricky because it's very easy to go out into that sand, then come back and redirect the car as quickly as possible to the left side of the racetrack and do it in a balanced manner so that you're ready to turn in, and you have the weight. You have to have the weight set up on the car to be able to switch directions and now turn right. So it's a very fluid set of corners right here. You have to be very fluid, and you have to carry the weight and transfer it from right to left so that the car is ready to make this turn in. And then sometimes you can go down a gear. I think in real life I usually kept it in the same gear. I can't really remember. But I'll go down to third on the simulator. I don't know if I really gain any time on that. And then finally we got to switch sides again. And then we come to the last corner of the racetrack. I'll brake around the 2 marker, hard on the brakes, down all the gears all the way down to first gear. And then you have to make this apex, very important. And again, this is a very important corner to get a good exit because it leads to the front straightaway. Let's do another one. I got a little bit too aggressive on throttle there. trail brake into this corner, get a good exit. Well, there you have it. I hope that you found this tutorial useful. Anybody that's frustrated with this racetrack or is going to be visiting it for the first time, maybe there's a tip or two in there that might make your time at Mazda Raceway a little bit easier, and it'll get you up to speed a little bit faster.